What's up, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, and the overall markets, and break down some key things coming out of the economic calendar, which you should be watching for as time goes on for the markets. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total. And the offer ends at the end of March. Anyways, as far as the market's going, looking at NIO, as you guys can tell, there's a big downtrend in the share price. I mentioned to you all that if we can't hold this yellow trend line, we're looking for a dump to about $4, which is exactly what happened so far. And we do have a strong support near there, so we got to hold this 4 area. If we don't, we're going to be at risk of dipping to about 3.7. So I want to give you guys a heads up about that to be very, very careful. There's lots of gaps left above on NIO, which does tell us it will eventually recover. But for the short term, with all the fears coming out, we're still looking kind of weak. So I'm just here to give you guys an update about that. So please keep that in mind. There's been some news that came out. If you actually look at our ES6, it's getting a lot more attention. And then simultaneously, we're seeing the same old news as the price-price ratio is continuing to fall, and we tend to be weak only about 53% of the time. We're green on Fridays, so we're still looking kind of weak right now. So for the way things are going, there have been more tariff threats from President Trump about how he wants to increase auto tariffs and such. It's affecting the whole sector, and this is causing NIO to slow down a bit. We'll have to see what kind of reaction we get at least as time goes on, especially with all these new developments. So please keep that at least as time goes on. There's also been some more news that came out that the company is unveiling an offshore offering of about 119 million shares. Not the best of news. So they're actually selling some shares. This is going to trigger some more panic right now. Not the best of news as well. So there could be a little bit more downside if we don't hold that $4 area. Now, when it comes to other pieces of news, we do have a big day tomorrow. It's going to be PCE and the last Friday of March. So keep that in mind. We have PCE data coming out, which will give us more insights about what's happening with inflation. It comes out an hour before the market opens. Then we have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report. Keep in mind, the last time inflation data came out, we saw the numbers look kind of low, which was good for the market. That's why we saw a nice bounce. And then on top of this, tomorrow is going to be Friday. We have about 430,000 of these calls expiring and about 700,000 puts expiring for a 1.61 put to call ratio. So keep that in mind. That's what we're looking at least thus far. When it comes to earnings overall, we had Lululemon, which announced their earnings. The share price is down because of the fact that the CEO is saying that inflation, economic concerns could hurt their spending. And that, once again, is the reason why we saw a bit of a dip, because their guidance came in below expectations. There's still lots of fear in the markets. We'll have to see if we become extremely fearful or not. So I'll be watching these indicators very closely. But for now, we're just watching some key levels. So although NIO is weak right now, I do want to give you a warning. We have to see if we could reclaim this $4 area. If we do, we could attempt to get back up towards this resistance around 4.02. Then eventually 4.2 is next. I do think there's a chance we try to push for the low fours. But then if we get a rejection, we could continue to fall back down towards 3.8. So please keep that in mind. As far as SPY goes, SPY is also looking decent. We're still trying to hold this support right here. So if we get a decent PCE, if we could hold this support, I do expect us to bounce quite nicely to about 572. If not, if we get a rug pull and we lose this, we could be dipping to about 558. I think PCE will be decent, but as long as we can hold this support, there could be some kind of rebound attempt for 573. We'll see, just to be safe. For the QQQ, same thing. We're barely holding 480. If we get a bad inflation report, if we get a rejection because of some bad news, we're looking for a dip to 474. If the data is decent, we're looking for a bounce for 485. We'll be watching that very, very closely. For the IWM, we're also looking for this to see how well this holds up. If we don't hold support around 204, we're looking for a dip to 202. If we reclaim 206, we're looking for some kind of rebound, so just keep that in mind. ES is technically trying to respect an uptrend. If we could hold this support, we're looking for a bounce to about 5,800. If not, we're looking for a dip. My gut tells me we try to get that bounce depending on our inflationary numbers and the news. NQ is also barely holding the support right here. If we lose this, we could be dipping to 19,700. If this holds, we want to get back above 20,200 to see some kind of rebound. For Nvidia, we have a double top right now as we're looking a little bit weaker. We want to see if Nvidia could get back above 115 to be bullish. If not, we could continue to fall for that 109 target. So just keep that in mind. Bitcoin's also range bound right now. We could be looking for an attempt for 88,000. So I think we're doing a decent job. For Tesla, we're looking decent. We're kind of stuck in the middle between these levels. We have the support around 269, and we have this resistance around this 290 area. We're just going back and forth for now. There's a possible inverse head and shoulder setup that's trying to develop, but there's no sign of a breakout yet. And we may have to wait for deliveries to really see it. So as of right now, we're just like range bound. I'm not seeing much, and we might just get tighter on Tesla for now. So we might just get very, very tights tomorrow. Apple's looking a bit more bullish. If we could try to break above 225, we're looking for an attempt to get back up towards this 226.5 area. If we lose 221, we could turn back down, but overall, I think it's doing a good job. Coinbase is looking decent. We are dipping for now, but we want to see if we could hold 188. If not, I could be looking for an attempt to dip to 183. So we'll see if the support holds. Might dip a bit more before we see some buyers defend. Amazon's kind of weak here. If we don't hold 200, we're going to be at risk of dipping towards this gap fill at 196. If we hold this, there's also the possibility of an inverse head and shoulders. So there's both the bullish and bearish case. We'll see if we hold up depending on the inflationary numbers. Meta is looking kind of weak, could be dipping for 596. Microsoft is in the middle. We'll see if this ends up losing 386 or not. And then for Google, we're looking kind of weak, looking for 162, so give it some time. With that being said, I want to thank you all for listening. The VIX is trying to rebound a bit, so we'll see how that goes. But the market overall is still showing some signs of weakness. We're in the middle right now. If we could hold support, then yes, we could try to get that bounce, but we'll see depending on the data tomorrow. For now, as long as SPY is above this trend line, we're going to be looking for a bounce. If we lose this, we could be dipping more. And NIO, of all things, is looking relatively weak, so there's going to be a risk of us dipping lower if we don't hold above 4 and 4.2. So for a small push, and if we get a rejection, we could be dipping back down to about 3.8, so please keep that in mind. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you all so much for listening. Please have a good rest of your day, and peace out.